Today's Pokemon card business video is going to be just a series of very long, random chats and a conversation between me and the camera. I've got a lot of clips up on YouTube that I want to show you. Some of them are from my channel, some of them are from other channels. And this was really inspired by Alpha Investments' latest video, I Got Fired, which is really probably his best upload in years. I've watched every Rudy upload, so I'm not saying that in a bad way. But it's 45 minutes of basically the history of Alpha Investments and just some good quality life advice that anyone in or out of the business world should know. So I've got it linked in the description. I highly recommend you watch that. There are a couple clips out of Rudy's video I did want to show though and kind of react to those. And my favorite ones were just how Rudy basically ruins the mystique and the allure of the Alpha Investments brand. And the mystique that I'm talking about is this idea that Rudy started out as this billionaire rich guy who came in and just shook things up in the hobby. And as he says in his video many times, the story isn't very interesting. It's actually a very boring story. And he actually wishes that the rumors on the internet of A, B, C, or D were true, because the actual behind the scenes life of how Rudy got his start and built his empire, it's actually very simple and boring. And this particular video really struck a chord with me because while I'm not anywhere near Rudy from Alpha Investments level, I have a very similar opinion on how people think about how I built my little Pokemon empire. There's a lot of people who think it's daddy's money, a lot of people who think I earned the money some other way and just threw all my riches into Pokemon. I really don't know what, but there is a lot of mystique and there's this allure with YouTubers who start fun businesses like Pokemon cards. Like, oh my God, how novel. And in reality, it's really not that exciting. It's really just a ton of grind and a lot of sleepless nights. People as large as Rudy start with one card, and you'll see he's got one graded card. That's how he started his business. People like me, we started with just a few flips on eBay, and you can build your empire really, really fast. Rudy, he talks about in this video, I highly recommend you watch it. He went from essentially a normal dude to the guy we all know today in 10 years. I went from making $40,000 a year as a real estate secretary to selling $5 million of cards per year as a Pokemon card business owner with 3 employees, a bigger house, paid off cars, no debt. Like in 5 short years, I completely destroyed the old life and built a new one. So I want to show that in this video. It's going to be a very long, rambly video. I know you guys like those, especially if you're driving or working out or whatever. So this is the video for you. Let's play a few clips from the new Alpha Investments video and we'll kind of go from there.
Because when I was fired that time, the world was very turbulent. I was finally moving out of my parents' house. I didn't move out to about 27, 28, 29 years old range. And I was getting my first house. And, well, unfortunately, my parents and everybody was very concerned because, well, I just got fired in the middle of finally moving out to my first house ever. And, well, that's not a very good look and a very good situation to be in.
So there's actually a few moments in this video that I just had to smile because we have a very similar upbringing in life. I bought my first house when I was very young. I was 22 when I signed and 23 when I moved in. And no, that was not daddy's money. I was really good at making money on eBay and I had a pretty good full-time job. And also this was, when I'm 32 now, so I guess this was 10 years ago already. The economy was very different. The interest rate was 3%. I did get a cosign, but I bought the house myself. And although I did not get fired from my full-time job after moving into this house, I did go through a manic episode that resulted in me quitting my job, which was a very good job, and then having to panic and entrepreneur my way through every single monthly mortgage payment because I did not have full-time income for about the first year that I lived at that house. Very, very scary times. But back to Rudy's video here, he said he's around 30 years old and he's still living with mom and dad. Very normal upbringing, especially in this economy now.
And, well, because of that, I decided do I get another job? Do I try my hand at selling on eBay? I guess I'll do a little else. And I started selling some video games and PlayStation 1 games and flipping some games. I'd buy Final Fantasy 7, Resident Evil 1 and 2 for PS1, and I'd look for good.
Again, it's just so funny because this is what I did. When I manically quit my full-time job, I turned to eBay full-time. I was selling on eBay for years before this, but I really had to dig deep and go all in because aside from my little brother who I rented a room to, I had no income at this point. Here is a Walmart secret clearance video.
Okay guys, got another episode of Walmart secret clearance. We got this OtterBox for the Motorola Razr marked at $17. We're gonna take our Walmart app, scan it, and the real price is actually $5. So
my voice is muffled because I'm wearing a mask. This is COVID season. So this is January 16th. So technically I have my Pokemon business, but I'm not really making much money doing that at all. So what I'm doing right now is I'm simply going to Walmart and buying clearance stuff to flip.
hey guys, if you want to start a Pokemon card flipping business or just want more money for Pokemon cards, consider flipping stuff. I got 28 of these Beats by Dre wireless headphones. You'll never believe what I paid for them. Every 3 of these things, you can get a booster box. Stay tuned for how.
So I got all these Beats headphones for $11 a piece.
Prove it. Altogether, this is going to be a $1,415 profit for the day.
So people ask where I get my capital from, and this is it, guys. Just literally flipping stuff on eBay from Walmart. You can see there's actually quite a lot of Walmart videos. And then, of course, if you guys have been around Poke lore for a while, you know that these were the first product. You gotta love that packing. So as you can see, I cut up some priority mail boxes to use as my hobby armor at the time. Shout out hobby armor. But this is what we sold. So these Charizard cards that you see on all the thumbnails, we were getting these from a guy in Japan. This is how the Japanese thing started. And we were buying them for, it was about $10 a piece, but you had to buy 100 at a time. So as you can see, I made, $1,400 doing the Walmart thing, and that $1,400 helped contribute to these Charizard cards. Japan was selling 100 cards for $1,000 roughly. I bought all of them. I sold them on eBay in America, and I doubled my money on them. So that's kind of how that started. Now this gem of a video actually kind of talks about that too. It's actually funny seeing a vlog while I'm kind of vlogging. So May 2nd, 2021, we were 4 or 5 months into the business, and this is me kind of talking about how I got started. Very meta, but I do mention the Walmart stuff and the Charizard cards, and you can see just how skinny I was. The beard was very trimmed odd. The haircut was horrible. The Jeffrey Dahmer glasses were rough. I just look unhealthy, but I'll play a couple seconds of this, and if you want to dig it through my YouTube archives, I suppose you can. For a while, I actually did eBay full-time. I was a student going to UNO in Omaha, Nebraska here, and I had a job that I hated. I was in a cubicle. It was a life insurance job. It sucked. Yep.
So I needed to find a way to get out of there, and I lived with my parents at the time, which, I was 20, so that's kind of normal, I guess.
Very normal.
Expenses,
very
not
normal.
much to lose. So I quit that job and I decided to sell on eBay full time. And that wasn't that much of a risk because I was already selling on eBay and making probably more money than my boss was paying me. So
yeah, definitely. So that life insurance job was Pacific Life. It's a big insurance company here in Omaha. And apparently I quit that job to sell on eBay full time too, which is hilarious. But the job that I ditched when I got my first house that I was talking about just a couple minutes ago, that was C&A Industries. It's a recruiting firm. So there you go. I had a lot of corporate jobs. But all that to say, I just think it was funny that me and Rudy were kind of going through the same shit around the same age. I just thought that was encouraging.
Condition copies and flip them on eBay and make $5-10 and just a little side fun stuff to learn about the world. And same thing with magic cards. And
doing magic cards and eBay.
At that time, I decided to kind of get a job with my parents and make sandwiches.
So I did not get a job with my parents, but I did get a job with someone else's parents. The beers team at Berkshire Hathaway, I ended up joining their little family, just a 3-person team, and I just kind of joined up with them. So not exactly the same as Rudy, but pretty similar, relatively small operation, but a good job overall, paid really well, and I did it for a long time. Origin story aside, though, we're at a point in the video where he kind of talks about how the mystique and the aura of Rudy from Alpha Investments, a lot of it was just internet rumors and kind of making this like this hero god figure around Rudy. In reality, his upbringing was pretty boring. And so he talks about that here.
One of these things where folks, even I was even embarrassed and uncomfortable to even tell you all many times for years that no, I mean, the stories of me online are so bad and inaccurate, but some of them I kind of like. I like people to think that, so I just kind of let everybody make their own shit up about Rudy, the past, and the money and everything, but that's not really the real world. I mean, it's a great example. I mean, the reason I bring that up is because we are in a time now with this technology and AI, an obsession with gambling, the gambling epidemic everywhere. Like, I see these things where unless you're some get rich quick hustle university, what color is your Bugatti, what side hustle, what flipping, what drop shipping, what are you doing? For the first so many years in this YouTube channel, when everybody just thought Rudy became this big billionaire person, I mean, 7 years ago, we were still making ham and cheese sandwiches and chicken salad sandwiches in the morning from 2 a.m. And I'd try to do a video in the afternoon and ship eBay orders with uncommons and commons with a stamp till 10 at night to try to make an extra couple $100 a month to pay my utility bill.
Just so funny. Even down to the utility bill. I mean, the parallels are hilarious. So unfortunately, I cannot find the clip I was looking for, but when I pitched this idea to Andrea that we needed to start a Pokemon card business, I promised her that we'd at least make enough to pay for the water bill. If you're an OG fan of the channel, you've seen the clip. I don't know where the hell it is, but that was the goal, was to get about $200 a month to pay for the water bill. So when I heard Rudy directly mention utilities, I'm just like, ha, that's kind of funny. Where's the vlog? We made this little day in the life vlog. This was quite early on. This was 4 years ago, February 21st. So obviously we grew pretty fast in just a month, but it's still a very small operation. But you can see I'm living my truth in this particular vlog. I'm 1 month into the business. I've already got all my social media set up. You can see I'm on the bottom there. I'm making content even though I'm not an expert in the field. I tell you guys who are just starting out, you don't need to be an expert at Pokemon. You don't need to be an expert at Pokemon content. Just film yourself and state your truth. If you're brand new to starting a business, tell people, hey, I'm brand new to starting a business. This is my journey. And so I was doing a really good job at this. And this part's just kind of funny with Rudy saying the ham sandwich thing. Again, the oven was going off. My wife eloquently stated that you guys need to buy more stuff from our website because we're too poor to have actual dinner. So I'm not wrong. Totino's pizzas are like $1. And to save money, we get the cheese ones, and then we buy our own pepperonis. This is gonna feed 2 adults. That's dinner.
Here's our millions.
This is what being an entrepreneur in 2021 looks like, guys. An entrepreneur's living room looks like. Here's my eBay career right here. Profit, so just to the moon. To the moon. Pretty early to that. So the pizza, it was not a bit for the video. That was actually our average dinner was the Totino's pizza. And we did indeed get cheese because for whatever reason, I remember specifically that week that Walmart had the cheese on clearance. And we did the math and it made more sense to buy the pepperonis. You can't make this shit up. But yeah, it was Totino's pizza. We really liked fish sticks that come in the blue box and then Kraft mac and cheese. And that's what we ate. Like that, this is how we lived for the longest time. You wonder why I'm so goddamn skinny in these videos. While we're on this video though, because this is probably my favorite one to show because it just shows how like cute and young the business was. So here's all of our inventory. This was again about a month and a half into the business. This is it. shipping section here. When you're starting a company and you think you might get some orders, you need a bunch of stuff. So got all these flat cardboard slats I've cut out from various boxes. This is before we could afford hobby armor, guys. Just sandwich cards in between those. Got like bulk envelopes down here. Got boxes. So we're going back to our photography super advanced here. Pretty proud of it. We hit our little light. We can take something, put it in there, and then take a photo of it. See how high def that looks? Wow, look at that. What else you need if you're trying to... Does look pretty nice. I have no idea what happened to that card or what that's worth now, but yeah, I mean, just like Rudy said, there was no crazy aura. There was no billions to start. There was no crazy setup. It was all extremely low key. I started just like he did, guys, flipping shit on eBay, selling a few cards here and there, and just slowly building up as I went. If I truly started this business with daddy money, I wouldn't be living the way I'm living in these videos. And that's the beauty of making content, is you can basically prove to anyone how you started. So this was January 24th, 2022. So this is like our 1 year anniversary. You can kind of get an idea of my content creation skills as I progress. I was relatively comfortable here, I'd say. We've got a pop-up shop we do at the mall. We've done garage sales. We do a live show on Twitch where we basically open cards for people who pay us for them. It's kind of strange, but if you're in the industry, you know. So a lot of different streams of income within this one industry, and we're going to talk about how those all add up, and then of course the expenses and how fun those are. So without further ado, guys, let's get started with the numbers. We're going to start with the main site, so let's take a look at that. All right, guys. Honestly, I've always been pretty comfortable on camera. It's not too cringe, honestly. So this is when I start adding up the income. You can see Facebook and Instagram. We're already at 685,000, but I think it comes down to like 100 and something for the profit. Yeah, I'll save you guys the trouble of waiting. So yeah, we made about 170,000 in profit at the end of the first year. But there's something I say here that I really want you guys to, I really hope resonates with you, which is fantastic. For the record, I have not seen a single dollar of this. Every single dollar we make, we reinvest into the business. We're not planning on taking any of the money out of the business for probably the next 10 years. We want to hit about $1 million profit before we even consider even taking a teeny bit out. There's just no point, guys. Cash is trash. Leave it in your business. But yeah, I've rambled on enough. So for the most part, I kind of stuck with that. We did obviously move out of this house and we built a big ass ranch with a huge basement that we've been working out of. So I did end up having to pay myself, but I paid myself basically the bare minimum I could. And for the most part, most of the money did stay in the business. I paid myself just enough to essentially net the same as we were netting after the mortgage payment, because Andrea, she's a teacher, she couldn't pay for that new house all by herself. That would be a lot. But yeah, we did basically keep all the money in there, and we really didn't take any income out until we did net about $1 million. So little 2021 Brian, he knew what he was doing. I'll give him credit. This video is something me and Andrea made that we thought would be funny. We kind of give her this like angry wife persona where basically my business took over her entire life. I remember this got a lot of negative feedback because they thought she was being serious. I mean, she kind of was, but we were playing it up for the camera. But this video really gives you an idea on how chaotic our lives were. And yeah, this was 3 years ago. So this was November 10th, 2022. Yeah, second holiday season of Poke Annie.
Has been started out in the guest bedroom, but has now evolved to moving everything into our basement. The basement of your house will no longer be yours. This takes up 30% of my living space, and it is no longer mine.
Good persona. I didn't realize how absolutely chaotic it looked down there. And this is, she says it later in the video, this is on a clean day, but all these plastic totes on the floor, these are from Rip and Ships. I didn't have a good way to organize Rip and Ships, apparently, so everyone got a plastic tote.
This is my garage. You can...
Granted, most of these boxes are empty and just need to be torn down for recycling, but yeah.
It looks like this. This is where my car is supposed to park.
It's just so bad. But you can really see like the humble beginnings of these clips. This one I kind of have my shit together more. This is January. So this is just a couple months later, January 2023. I've cleaned things up a little bit. Got kind of an ASMR lo-fi thing going on. I was amped about that animation. I paid Peter McKinnon like $20 for that animated font. Shout out if you know Peter McKinnon. So V-Star Universe, that gives you kind of an idea of where I was at. Not gonna lie, this is an extremely aesthetic setup we had here. The basement, this was prime second house basement. Now I know we're kind of jumping all over, but I wanted to show you one more clip of kind of the progression here. So this was 2 years ago. This was May 8th, 2023. So this is one of the last few weeks at that second house with the basement and garage that looked trashed. We're moving out of the second house here. So this is actually, I think, a piece of furniture we're bringing to the new house. But I was basically doing last second inventory. And so you can kind of get an idea of what we had at this point. So here's mine. Those are Scarlet and Violet sleeved boosters. We got a lot of them. This palette is all Mimikyu EX boxes that were forced upon me. This is furniture for our new house in 2.5 weeks. Yay. Strikers tins. These have Evolving Skies in them on the top there. Wish I would have kept those. Shrek ETBs. I think a Darkness Ablaze one too. This stuff is mostly not counted yet. Got some, what is that? Silver Tempest ETBs. And then we've got all this. This is all like Weiss Schwartz singles. Oh, that's like, all V-Star Universe. Oh, that's all V-Star. We got all V-Star Universe. There's like 700. I don't know. There's a lot. There's a bunch of stuff here. Those are all booster boxes. I'm going to try to sleep all day Monday for like 15 hours. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to try to stream on Twitch. That'll be fun. Buy my stuff at pokeannie.com. And look at that adorable merch. You need it. 3 promo codes with every purchase of a shirt. I really started developing my character, apparently, at this point. So 2023. Yeah, you see I look a little healthier. I got rid of the Jeffrey Dahmer glasses. I still need to hit the gym pretty bad, but I'm kind of developing myself into a content creator at this point and a pretty successful business. Now, this video is from 2 years ago, July 5th, 2023. So this was after we moved into the basement that's in all of our videos. Section of the basement you'll see a lot. We've got a bunch of these muscle rack shelves. We bought them from Lowe's. They were like $250 a piece, and they are very high strength, perfect for booster boxes and ETB cases. Now for the last stop, and a curved monitor, NVIDIA GeForce RTX graphics card, and this. So when you're doing like rip and chips. I started hitting the gym at this time. Thank God, my arms look kind of good. Another mount hanging from the right, nothing too fancy. So if you followed me for the past 2.5 years, you'll know that this is quite the glow up. We started in a very small bedroom. We moved down to a very small basement. Then we took over the basement and the garage. And since then, we moved out of our little split entry home. We bought a ranch with an unfinished basement. This unfinished basement is as big as the whole entire house. It's funny seeing it the way it is, because now it looks so different already, and it's only been a couple years. We moved out of, so we've expanded quite a lot, and I can still tell within a year or two we're gonna probably outgrow this space and have to buy an actual warehouse or building. Not quite Brian from 2 years ago, but yeah, it is interesting seeing the progression. I want to show other people's story as well, because otherwise it looks like I'm some miracle that just somehow pulled it out of my ass. And after showing you Rudy's history, or giving you a little preview of it, I highly suggest you watch Rudy's video. Colin from the Poke Office is someone I like to showcase a lot, because he's just such a normal dude who got distribution when no one else could. And he did it by doing all the exact things I tell you guys to do. He made content, he built a brand, he got distro because of that brand, in an environment where distro was not signing people up, mind you, like he did it against all odds. And I just think he's got a lot of important things to say. He says basically the same stuff I say. We kind of started off the same way. It's just good to hear it from somebody else because I feel like it helps kind of strengthen what I'm telling you. But there's a couple of clips from here I'll choose from. Let's start with here.
A little over 2 years in, I had 12,000 plus subscribers. I was making $1,000 Canadian a month on YouTube on average, like anywhere from 700 to 1,200 roughly. And I was like, man, I think I got enough of a following here. And I was buying and selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace and locally and on Facebook groups and doing claim sales. Like it's kind of building that reputation through and through, just grinding all the time, trying to find different ways to make a little bit of money with Pokemon. And I was like, I really think that I have a shot. With a good written email, I can go find myself a distributor, which worked. But I waited over 2 years. Like I wasn't just hungry to send the email the first day I got into building.
That is such a good clip. I mean, it summarizes everything I've been saying for the past 3 years into just one sentence. Work your way to a following. Sell things on eBay and Facebook and keep the money coming as needed. If you watch his whole video, Colin's video here, you'll see he never even quit his 9-to-5 job. He did all this brand building while working a 9-to-5. He still has his 9-to-5 and he does Pokemon on the side, which just is a really great segue into saying there is absolutely no excuse. If this guy can do it, you can. There is one thing that I found really funny when he talks about vending, because if you've watched my previous business videos, you'll hear that I kind of trash the idea of vending when you're new. I think a lot of new vendors, new business owners, they think they're hot shit a little too early and think, oh, I'm going to be a vendor. That's the way to become a real business. And my critique is they fly sometimes business class. I'm not even kidding. They get bougie hotels. They eat at bougie restaurants. They party and then they vend and then they go home. And by the time they add up all their expenses, they basically broke even or made like $12 an hour. And so when I heard Colin from the Poke office was vending to get his start, I was like, oh, I mean, it worked for him, whatever. Then I heard how he did it, and I was like, oh, Colin knows the rules.
Friday night of pricing all my cards because the market changes every single week. And then we leave early on Saturday morning. We're leaving at like 4:30 and 5 a.m. sometimes to get to the show because we live in the middle of nowhere. So that's crazy. And then we want to save costs, so we eat crap food and we drive there in the morning and we drive home at night so we don't have to spend money on a hotel. All of this stuff just adds to the grind. Like,
it's just so funny because I literally make a video about how to properly do a convention and why I don't like them. And then he does this. And he wasn't copying what I was saying. This is how he got started. He did the exact things I suggested you do if you decide to vend. Go local or drive. Don't stay in a hotel if you don't need to. Don't eat bougie food and pretend you're bigger than you are. Stay humble. Sit down. Do all the things Kendrick tells you. I just thought that was another really fun clip. So go watch his video too. Now, as you know, me and Nostalgianomics are friends, and Nomics, he is another one that really is only successful because of his content and his brand building. He'll tell you if you ask, because I actually forgot this for a while. He was doing his Pokemon investing content for years. And that's all he did. He made good money on YouTube ad revenue, relatively, $3,000 to $4,000 a month, I'm guessing. And I watched him a lot. And somehow we met up at a convention in Kansas City. And I remember telling him, so he's reminded me of this story, how basically I told him, hey, you're famous, you need to do rip and ships. Because I was making a shitload of money doing rip and ships. And I feel like at this time, he only had 6,000 subs. He was not a big deal. And he laughed at me. He's like, what do you mean I'm famous? I'm like, dude, all you need is a couple dozen people to buy from you and you'll make money. And so after that, and maybe someone else motivated him too, but ultimately he went home and he started a rip and ship, and now he's at where he's at today. He's got official distribution. He does not get very many products from distribution. I know this because we share a distributor, but he's new and he has it. And after a couple years of grinding, he will be able to get as much stuff as I do. But he's another example of someone that got distribution in a market where distributors allegedly weren't taking on new clients, but they took on him. And it's funny because I've said it in previous videos, distributors, they are normal people. They also get on YouTube and slack off at work. They enjoy watching Pokemon content. They're not these mysterious men in black suits. They are normal people. And so Colin Poke Office, his distributor, watched his channel. Nomix, his distributor slash my distributor, he found us through YouTube. He watches our content. He's a fan of the channel and he reached out. My main distributor wasn't watching our channel, but became aware of it after I reached out, and now huge fan of the channel. A YouTube channel is the ultimate key. I've been saying this forever. Now, there's at least been a couple of times in this video or previous videos where I tell you there's really no excuse if you truly want to build a Pokemon card business in 2026, then you have the ability to do so. And besides Nomix and Poke Office and Alpha Investments, 10 years ago, this guy started his YouTube channel for Pokemon 4 months ago. 4 months ago. This was literally a nobody. Look how, let's just watch a video.
What's going on, everybody? DJ here from DT's Poke Center. That stands for DJ and Troy's Poke Center. I want to get my son more involved with this.
51 views on this video.
Pokemon as well, so we're kind of...
And he does the same thing all the other YouTubers do. He throws the big font on there, throws some clickbaity titles, blah, 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 blah. And, there's Alpha Investments and Nomix on there. I'm sure I'm in a thumbnail somewhere. Kira's over there. He gets enough clout and builds enough attention.
No, shout out to Shiny
to
Vert.
get me, Team Rocket Joey of all people. Poke Office shows up. Mimic Brew shows up. Northwoods TCG gets on here. These are all very big players in the game. And DJ's Poke Center, with 3 months of experience, managed to make this happen. And it just shows you that, there's really no excuse for not taking a chance and just making things happen. 3 months. This is probably the guy most likely to get a distribution contract next on PokeTube. I really don't know how this video is going to perform. I have a feeling that when I go back to edit it, I'm going to be like, what was the topic of this video? How is it organized? What were you talking about? But sometimes I just like to have little conversations with the camera. And it's good. It's therapeutic. And it's also just kind of a good way to remember the little rules when it comes to starting a business. And that's lock in, don't be a little bitch, don't make excuses, remember where you came from, and have a mission of where you're going. 2026, I've said it before, it's going to be a very, very crazy year for Pokemon card businesses. I think it's going to be a good one if you know what you're doing. So I'll release a goals video here within the next week for the next year. I also need to release a reaction video to my 2025 predictions and goals, so I'm going to do that very soon. But let me know what you think about just the general rambling conversations between me and the camera. If you're still here, I would love proof of that. So what I want you to do is comment your favorite cereal below. Fruity Pebbles is the correct choice, but I will allow you to comment anything you want. Comment your favorite cereal below so I know you're still here. Buy my stuff at pokene.com, and definitely check out the channels I featured in this video. Links in the description. Thanks so much, y'all. Have a wonderful day.